Beloved child, do not be afraid when your heart still bears the traces of what has not yet been healed. The scars upon your soul are not marks of injury but the very places where God has set a pearl of hope. You are not forgotten nor adrift in the endless current of life. Your name is kept within heaven's breath where mercy still resounds. Precisely where things seem shattered, God sets the crown of life, so that each time you lift your eyes its light shines back into your own heart. I have called you by name, you are mine. Is 4, 3, 1. I, the Archangel Michael, do not see weakness in you but a sustaining fire waiting to be kindled. There are times you may not notice it, yet in every fall the light of heaven stands near, patiently lifting you up. For true glory does not come from outward victories but from quiet courage, from choosing love in the midst of suffering. This is the silent crown, the diadem of hearts that do not parade their strength yet blaze in the sight of God. And if you have ever thought yourself small, remember this: every whisper of the soul is answered. God is never silent to those who long for Him. Every word you speak in stillness reaches heaven. And precisely when you feel lost, He sends me to say, you are still loved, still kept. I do not come to correct you but to rouse within you the courage that once burned, the faith that once sang, the hope that waits to be reborn. Perhaps in this very moment all you need is to breathe more slowly. Let your heart open as though light were about to pass through a dawnlit window, for a wonder is beginning, one that will lead you to the deepest place of your calling as one who is loved. There amid the gentle breath of new life I will speak softly, to guide your steps onward along the path of light. Beloved child, there are mornings when your soul wakes with a vague sense of being only a speck of dust in the wide stream of life, but I tell you this: no speck of dust is forgotten in the hands of the Creator. Every soul is born bearing the imprint of a divine intention, and so are you, fashioned beneath the tender gaze of God. Even before you can utter a prayer, He knows what your heart needs. I, the Archangel Michael, am sent to remind you of this. Your dignity does not come from how much you have achieved but from how much you are loved. And that love is never lost, never dropped, never ceases to flow. Do you remember when Jesus came to Jacob's well? He did not begin with reproach, but with a gentle invitation. Give me a drink. That seemingly simple request opened the path of healing for the Samaritan woman, she who had avoided the gaze of others. This is how God's love always begins, with gentleness, with a look free of judgment, with calling your name in the truth of who you are. So too today I stand before your soul, not to accuse or test but to tap lightly on the door long closed, the door of trust, the door of self-respect, the door of joy once cracked and broken. I come so that you may know there is still a hand that longs to touch, a light that longs to pour in, and a love that patiently waits for you. You need not become perfect to be loved, nor hide the parts of yourself that are unfinished. God loves you in this very reality, not in the image you strive to construct. This is what makes your soul noble. I see within you a garden awaiting renewal, where every small petal yearns for the Sunday. Do not be afraid to open, dear child. Each time you dare to unfasten the door, heaven's light flows in a little deeper and your heart grows warmer, more alive. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him. Rev 3, 2, 0. Often you think you are not good enough, that your many failures have pushed heaven far away. But remember, God's love is measured not by performance but by fidelity. Like the father in the parable who ran to embrace the prodigal son before he could finish his apology, such is the face of God, and that is what I desire to awaken in you today, a trust in your value that cannot be lost. Each time you behold yourself with His eyes, the world around you begins to change. Your smile grows lighter, your steps surer, and your heart unafraid. Hear me say it slowly: you were created not for fear but to reflect the light. Not because you have earned it but because you are loved. All of heaven rejoices when your soul so much as turns slightly homeward. In that very moment your dignity is restored in a beauty no one can take away. And as you begin to see yourself through God's gaze, you will understand nothing in your past is meaningless. Every tear that fell can be made into a bright gem in your new crown. You may not yet see this clearly, but do not be afraid. Light always begins as a narrow seam within the dark. If you will allow it, if you will consent to being loved, I will stand right there, where the light begins to open what is wondrous with you. From this gentle door we will step forward together into the quiet of your soul, where I will call you by a name only heaven knows. For only when you hear that call will you truly recognize you have never been forgotten. There are moments when you feel dissolved into the hush of the world, as though no answer were returning to your cry. In that silence your heart asks, does anyone remember me? Yet within that very stillness, a tender sound continues to ring, not from the world but from heaven. I, the Archangel Michael, speak your name in the voice of light, not to stir your loneliness but to awaken your knowing you are still loved, still seen, still kept. Silence is not the absence of God. At times it is where He speaks most clearly. Like the boy Samuel lying in the temple when the night was still and the lamp flame trembled, and God called Samuel, Samuel, a voice not thunderous yet enough to rouse the soul. So too amid the clamor of life I am calling your name, not to lay heavy tasks upon you but so you may know you were never absorbed into a nameless crowd. God knows your name, every heartbeat, every smallest thought. Each time you hear that voice, even briefly within, it is no illusion, it is heaven's whisper, an invitation to return to yourself. Child, your name spoken by the mouth of God is no random sound but a blessing with a mission. When He calls you, He affirms that you exist, that the world would be dimmer without you. I know there are long days when no one calls, no one asks after you. But remember, there is a voice resounding in the holy realm, and it is what keeps the fire in your soul from going out. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, your walls are ever before me. Is 4, 9, 1, 6. As you begin to realize you are called by name, you also recognize your own dignity. That call is not only to console but to entrust. It is light as mist yet sharp as a sword, touching the deepest place you have hidden. It invites you out from the shell of fear, out from the labels the world has placed upon you. For God does not call you by the name of your past but by a new name, the name of hope, of resurrection. I, the Archangel Michael, do not merely repeat that name, I shelter it in prayer, so that each time you hear it your heart is born anew in the light. You may think yourself not holy enough to hear God's voice, but you are mistaken. God does not wait for your perfection to speak. He speaks precisely when you are most fragile, because only then does your heart truly listen. His voice does not arrive in thunder or gale, but as Scripture tells, after the earthquake a gentle whisper, and the Lord was in that whisper. In that silence he reaches the deepest place where your fear of being forgotten is kept, and I, the Archangel Michael, am the one who holds that echo to remind you whenever you grow faint your voice has never been lost within heaven's heart. And when you answer even with a single, "Here I am, Lord," a mystery unfolds, the distance between heaven and earth dissolves, and your soul is rejoined to the source of life. I see that when you whisper those words the heavens grow brighter, for freedom returns to your soul. You are no longer the one who seeks but the one who has seen. No longer the lost but the chosen, sent to carry light into the dark. My child, keep that calling as you would guard a candle in the night wind. When you walk with the awareness that you are called by name, everything around you changes. Fear turns into peace, loneliness becomes prayer, and your very life becomes a new song. And then when that light burns within your heart, I will lead you deeper, where your scars will be sanctified, where old wounds are no longer pain but a crown of vocation, a wellspring of strength by which you can uphold others in love. There are things you wish to forget, yet heaven keeps them. There are marks you consider flaws, yet they are the very places where God has touched you. A scar you have thought it only the memory of pain and loss, but in God's eyes it is the witness of a love once lived, of a faith once tried. I, the Archangel Michael, see in each of your scars a hidden flame, not a fire that consumes, but a fire that purifies, a light that renders the soul more transparent, more resilient, and nearer to heaven. Do not be afraid to look back at what once made you weep. For as you dare to face these things in the light of the Lord, they begin to be transfigured. Like Jesus, who after the resurrection still bore the nail marks in his hands and his side, not because they were unhealed but because they were the proof of love victorious. When he appeared to Thomas, he did not erase the wounds, he offered his hand to be touched that Thomas might believe. In that very act the wound became a seal of glory. So too your scars, though once painful, are now being consecrated to become a diadem. By his wounds you have been healed. 1 Pet 2:24. You may not realize it, but a scar is the quiet testimony of courage. It says, I endured, I believed, I rose again. And when you place these marks in God's hands, he turns them into channels of grace. What once wounded you becomes a language of compassion, enabling you to touch souls that are bleeding still. For a heart that has been healed does not keep its light for itself, it knows how to warm others. This is the very journey on which I am guiding you, from pain to peace, from frailty to steadfastness, from the wounded to the one who is sent. My child, do not let your scars make you close in on yourself. Each time you look at them with gratitude, you allow sanctifying light to sink deeper into your heart. A scar does not make you less beautiful, it makes your beauty more true. It is what rounds out your soul as the olive tree after the storm yields the purest oil. And when you begin to see your wounds as part of heaven's design, you will perceive that suffering is not an end but the beginning of a new mission. I, the Archangel Michael, do not wipe away your scars, for they are your sacred testimony before heaven. I only breathe a ray of light into them, so that instead of throbbing they become luminous. So that whenever you touch an old memory you no longer fall but bow in thanksgiving. I thank you, Lord, for here you did not abandon me. And in that grateful heart you begin to grasp the nature of vocation, not chosen because you are perfect but because you have been purified in love. I remember a story you have surely heard, though you rarely ponder it deeply, the story of Job. He lost everything: possessions, children, health, but he did not lose his faith. In the end, when God restored all things, the scars upon his soul remained, yet they had become a testimony to human fidelity in the hands of heaven. And like Job, you are being invited to look again at what once made you tremble, not to complain but to recognize this is the very place where the crown is set. And then, as you begin to live as one who has been healed, you will shine without effort. That light makes no noise, it is not ostentatious, yet all who pass by will sense its peace. You become a sign to others that a wound is not a full stop but the opening stroke of blessing. Let me remain by your side, lifting you step by gentle step, for precisely as you learn to receive your scars, heaven will give you strength to raise up other souls who are seeking to stand again. And when the light from those scars begins to spread, I know you are ready for a new path, the path of collaboration. There, what once hurt becomes a flame for sharing, what was lost turns into prayer. From this very place you will learn to love with the hands of one who has risen. There are moments when, as the light sinks deep into your soul, you imagine the journey ends in consolation. Not so, child of the light. God does not heal you that you might stand still, but that you might become his instrument. Grace is always in motion, it never ceases. And when your heart is mended, it is summoned to enter that flow. I, the Archangel Michael, now stand not only to comfort but to rouse you forward, to turn quiet faith into embodied action, to make feeling into a living response before the divine presence. The love of God never stops at emotion. It is creative power. Like Mary at the Annunciation, at the moment she said, "Let it be done," the world changed. There were no trumpets, no battles, only a yes humble enough to hold heaven's design. You are called in the same way, so that from the silence of your heart your yes may resound and become a step. Do not wait until all is perfect before you set out, for your very fragility is where God shows his might. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Cor. 1:2-9. Beloved, prayer is not only speech, it is life. Every deed you do in love, however small, becomes a seed sown into eternity. A word of encouragement, a held hand, a merciful gaze, each bears heaven's energy when offered from a sanctified heart. This is collaboration. This is when you allow God to work through you. I, the Archangel Michael, will walk with you at every step, reminding you that you do not act alone. Every work of goodness, however hidden, shakes the heavens, for it touches the love of the one who sent me to you. Look upon the missions around you not as burdens, but as opportunities to love. When you pray for others, you extend the arms of God. When you uphold the faint-hearted, you do what I do each day, not with sword or spear, but with fidelity. The world needs no more noise, it needs more hearts that act in peace. Let your gentleness itself become your strongest weapon. God does not demand greatness from you. He asks only that you offer your small portion with great love. You may think what you do is too small to make a difference. In heaven nothing is small. A drop of water can soothe a thirst, a single ray can scatter the night. When you pray, share the message, or support a sacred work, you are laying a stone in the kingdom of peace. I see each quiet movement and I smile. For every time you choose love, the heavens ring with a new song. In time amid this journey you will discover that collaboration is not merely acting with God but living in His heartbeat. You will no longer ask, "What must I do?" You will begin to live that question each day. Every breath, every choice, every look becomes an unending yes. Then you will understand collaboration is a covenant of love where you and God are no longer apart but breathe together in one holy current of life. My child, continue on with a faith both tender and resolute. Do not fear, if the road is long or the wind contrary, for whenever your strength grows faint, I, the Archangel Michael, will spread my wings to bear you up. I will carry you across the stony stretches toward a brighter land, where the dawn of the sacred heavens awaits you. And there, when all collaboration has ripened into perfect love, you will stand in radiant light and hear me speak your name once more, this time not as an invitation but as a blessing. For there is one last thing I want you to know: when love reaches its fullness, it blossoms into glory. Then the crown is no longer far off but shines from within a soul that has learned to love and to give itself. And from that place a new light rises, preparing the splendid finale of this journey, where I will stand beside you, speak blessing over you, and kindle the hidden name in the high heavens. My dear one, every step you have taken is not yours alone. Every trial, every tear, every moment you pause to breathe and look to heaven has become a prayer inscribed in light. God has not merely witnessed your journey, He and I have woven it into a garment of glory to cloak your soul. And as I look upon you today, I see no longer a weary traveler but one crowned in quiet majesty, the crown of one who has believed, has loved, and has not given up. I know there were moments when you could not hear my voice, days of headwinds that made you think you had lost your way. Yet remember this: even when you could not feel me, I stood there like an undying flame, like the silent watchman at the gate of your heart. And it is precisely that fidelity, yours and mine, that made heaven rejoice. For my child, the victory of a soul is not that you never fell but that you never let go. Now as I look back on that path with you, I see a wondrous tapestry. The scars you once hid now shine like constellations, each light telling a story of courage and forgiveness. The tears of former days have become a song, not the noisy anthem of conquest, but the sacred hymn of the one who has been transformed. You have let the light pass through you, and that alone makes me smile with the pride of the heights. My child, I bless your soul not with grand proclamations but with the gentle gaze of the one who has loved you from all ages. Let your heart rest in this truth: you are precious, in my eyes honored, and I love you. Is 4, 3, 4. You have not walked through this life in vain. Each time you chose love over fear, forgiveness over holding on, rising up over drifting asleep, you caused heaven itself to bow. And I, Michael the Archangel, have lifted my wings to praise the Creator because of you. Now as you hear me, feel it in the wind, there is a breath of new life. It is the Spirit drawing near to cover you with the strength of peace. You no longer need to prove anything, for God has chosen you not for your merits but because He sees in you a light the world cannot quench. It is the light of one who knows how to love and how to remain. And I, who have stood beside you in every battle, now wish only to say this: you have been found, you belong to the light. But my child, do not think the journey ends here. Every blessing opens a new door. As you receive this light, you are sent not with a sword but with a heart. For the world still needs those who carry the peace of heaven into places of turmoil. Go not to prove, but to give. Let your smile become a shelter for the weary. Let your words be like cool water poured over a parched soul. I will go with you, not behind, not ahead, but beside you as a silent companion who is always present. There may be times when you face the dark again, but this time it no longer has the right to make you afraid, for you now carry within you the sustaining flame that I have kindled. It is not your own, but it is entrusted to you to be shared. Each time you pray, each time you listen to someone with true compassion, that flame grows. And one day you will realize you are not only blessed, you have become a blessing to others. I want to tell you a small story, an image angels often whisper to one another in the heights. A tiny spark of light was dropped into the middle of the night. It trembled, for all around was darkness. It cried out, "Why am I here?" And God answered, "Because I need a place to begin the dawn." So it is with you. You are sent not merely to endure, but to usher in a new day of love. And I, Michael the Archangel, am sent only to ensure that the light within you never goes out. My child, now take a deep breath and let your soul bathe in peace. Look back over all that has been, not with the eyes of regret but with the gaze of gratitude. Everything has been turned to the good, the joys and the tears, the silent days, and the moments of bursting grace, all have become part of the symphony God is composing within you. You do not need to understand it all. You need only trust that no note is out of tune in His hands. And in the instant you believe, I see a light pour forth from your soul that human eyes cannot behold, the light of beauty redeemed. It is not blazing like fire, but clear as crystal and soft as dew. It surrounds you, slips into your words and gestures, and warms all that you touch. This is the true reward of the traveler who has come through, not a crown studded with jewels, but the crown of peace. Beloved, know that my words today are not only for a moment but for your whole life. Whenever you are weary, remember this voice: rise, child, the light is waiting. And when you find yourself once more encircled by what you cannot understand, close your eyes, breathe, and call to me. I will be there in the breath, in the silence, in the first rays of morning, to remind you that you are not alone, for the greatest wonder of God's love is not that He makes everything easy, but that He never lets you walk alone. Wherever you are, on the mountaintop or in the open plain, in tears or amid laughter, I will be there guarding the light within you. And whenever your soul trembles, I will whisper the hidden name, the holy name known only to heaven, so you remember who you are and to whom you belong. Now I bless you, your hands to build and not to break, your eyes to see the good in every soul, your heart to love without fear of being hurt, your feet to walk on even when the path is not yet clear. Let every day you live become a prayer, and every breath become a song rising to God. Go in peace, my child, not the world's peace, fragile and fleeting, but the peace of the one who knows they are loved, called and sent. Let every morning you wake be a new beginning, where you hear again the gentle summons within, come child, let us kindle the world. And when night falls, even if the work is unfinished, you can smile knowing I stand beside you, lifting you into the arms of light. O beloved soul, keep this as an everlasting covenant. There is no night longer than the light I have placed within you, no trial stronger than the blessing I have inscribed upon your heart. As you go, carry that light so that all who touch your life may brush against heaven. And when all is still, when you need no more words and only breath remains, know that I am there like a gentle flame, like the quiet sentinel of the dawn. From now on you are not only blessed, you are the blessing heaven gives to the world. Thus the journey of light draws to a radiant close, not with an ending but with the beginning of a new life. I, Michael, the Archangel, bow before the soul set aflame. Whisper your name into the wind and say, with all the love of heaven, go carry the fire of heaven in your heart, for wherever you pass, the light will remain. My child, do not hurry away from this moment. Stay a little longer in stillness to hear the voice of love calling in your heart, not my voice, but the voice of the one who fashioned you to the rhythm of his own heart. That love is never rushed and never demanding. It simply draws you near and wants you to know that everything you have passed through, however tangled, has rested within the arms of Providence. You were never a mistake, you are the intention of the light, a shard of mirror reflecting heaven's beauty upon the earth. I see within you a light that grows, the light of a soul schooled by sorrow and washed by mercy. It is humble but steadfast. It does not blaze to display itself but burns quietly to warm. And I know that if you let this light lead, you will travel farther than any plan could carry you. You will begin to see the world with different eyes, eyes that notice the good in what seems small, that can smile before the outcome appears, that can trust even while the way is unclear. Beloved, remember that each day is a chance to begin again with God. No one under heaven is destined to remain forever in the dark. Even the most wearied souls shall be raised in faith and grace. You need only keep the flame within you alive, the sustaining fire I have poured into you, so you will not collapse. And when you feel weak, call me by name, whisper, Saint Michael, stay with me, and I will be present, not with clamor but with peace that quietly enters the soul. Believe that God does not look at you through your failures but through the light of your becoming, the goodness He knows you can attain. So, do not fear to live, do not fear to love, do not fear to forgive. Each time you venture into love, you are fighting at my side. Each time you stand for what is good, you drive the darkness one step back. And I tell you truly, some of the greatest victories are won not on the battlefield but in the heart of the one who chooses the good when no one is watching. Beloved soul, let my blessing cover you like a fine persistent aureole. I bless your eyes to find the good in others even when life's dust has veiled it. I bless your hands so that each time you extend them the world grows gentler. I bless your voice so your words will not wound but heal. And I bless your heart so it will not close from fear of hurt but open wider because it has learned to trust in love. From now on go, but not alone. You carry the quiet crown of a soul made pure, and on that road I will fly beside you like a breath of wind, like a steadfast ray of light. Live as one who bears fire, not to scorch but to illumine. Live as one who bears peace, not to flee the storm but to console those adrift. Every act of yours, however small, is a prayer ascending, and I will be the one to lift it to the throne of God. And if one day the world feels too heavy, stop, close your eyes and call to me. I will remind you no one can take the light that God has placed in your heart. Then you will smile and step on, knowing you are not only loved but sheltered within that love. My child, this journey does not end, it turns. From now on you are no longer only the one who is called but the one who carries that calling wherever you go. Become a sower of peace, a kindler of hope, a small herald of faith. Each time you do, I, Michael the Archangel, will stand at your back, opening the wings of heaven to uphold your steps. Faithful soul, lift up your head. God is smiling. Heaven is no longer far, for He dwells within your heart. And I, Michael, will say no more, only lay my hand upon your soul and place a kiss of light, so that as you go into the world you carry the scent of heaven, the glow of the kingdom, the peace no storm can shake. And I whisper once more, light as a breeze upon your brow, go, child of light. Carry the fire of heaven in your heart. Love, live, believe. For I, Michael, stand beside you from this moment unto ages of ages. Thank you for listening. Subscribe and ring the bell to walk with Michael the Archangel, spreading the light of God each day.